Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this video lecture on wireless cellular and 4G LTE, module number 3, lecture number 1 on channel structure of LTE. So basically what we have seen in the previous video, how the LTE has been designed and what are the various protocols related to LTE layer which fall under the layer 2, and that particular layer 2 basically consists of the three different sections, that is PDCP, MAC or RLC, and the last is RRC. So based on the layers which are being designed for the LTE protocol stack, now today in this video lecture we will see how the channel structure for LTEs is designed. So based on this particular channel structure, this LTE operation, how the radio interference is going to take place, can be viewed here in channel structure of LTE in chapter number 6. Basically the LTE may face some of these challenges, okay, and some kind of technical problems, and those technical problems should be solved when it comes to a wireless network. And we have seen there are a lot of variations in the network or the radio interface, radio access interface. Okay, now when you go to this 3GPP, that is third generation partnership project, okay, it separately defines the network structure. Okay, like what we have the generations of our wireless communication, that is 1G, 2G, 3G and 4G, all these generation have different network structure. Similar to the other structure, this LTE also have its own channel structure, and how that will help to perform better than the other generations. Okay, that is what we will see in this particular module. So here the 3GPP also defines a separate network, okay, and where it divides the whole network into two different categories. One is radio access network and the other is core network. Okay, and why we need to go for the division of this networks in terms of RAN and CN just is to make it feasible to evolve each part independently. Now similar to this LTE, here also the focus will be more on enhancement of the terrestrial radio access, okay, which is also called as UTRA, terrestrial radio access. And as with respect to this 3GPP, the 3G, the third generation, in that the RAN which is being developed here is within the 3GPP. Okay, it's not going beyond the 3GPP, it is within the 3GPP. In the sense, again, that is divided into your RAN and the core network. Okay, so based on that particular mechanism, this 3GPP is been making use of EPC. It is called as Evolved Packet Core. Okay, and that consists of your IP packets, IP based architectures, okay, where the system may also consist of some kind of the complete LTE package, okay, and that package consists of all these type of different network structures. Okay, now similarly, as compared to the other generation, here we will be more focusing on the LTE system. Okay, so what this basically LTE system here is, here in LTE system, how you are going to evolve, okay, the mobile cellular system and how you make it standard, okay, with the release of its version. Okay, so the versions can be your version number 1, version number 2, just like whatever the series of our mobile numbers we do have, right? Series 1, series 2, series 3, right? So here also we only speak only about the releases. Okay, so what we have seen here in like 2G and 3G systems, okay, which were mainly focused on the voice services, okay, and some kind of message services, okay, which was a very bit applications were being involved with the 2G and 3G cellular systems, okay, but not specifically to LTE. So therefore the LTE should be designed in such a way that it should provide, rather than your voice and other applications, it also focuses on the high speed of data services. Okay, if you take an example of your the Geo network, okay, the Geo is morely focused on the data rather than the other signals. Okay, and even the call which we do is all about the data call. Okay, it's not a normal call, it's a data call, and for that particular data call we require the high speed of internet. Okay, so that is why the LTE, instead of making use of the circuit switching methodology or the message switching methodology, here it is focusing on the concept of packet switching networks. Okay, so this is one part. The other part is it also supports from one to end communication or end to end communication, but there will not be any kind of support for the switching circuit switching services. For example, if there is one application which is working on the circuit switching services, okay, and that services will not be allowed by the LTE, that is what the focus will be on. Okay, but here the focus will be on the latency, okay, the quality of services, okay, such that the circuit switch connections will still can utilize the protocol of LTE. So just to understand how this complete network will work here, if you look at this figure number 6.1, where we have the two interfaces or the two radio architecture. One is your UHRAN and another is nothing but it is EUTRAN. Okay, and these two are consist of their core network and they have the radio interfaces. Okay, we have two nodes, node B and node B. This is RNG. Okay, and here we have only two E node. Okay, and here they are making use of EUTRN. Okay, so how this LTE will work with the architecture, that is the radio interface architecture. It should just the architecture here. Okay, so here in the radio in the LTE radio interfaces, okay, which is being designed here in such a way that it should give you high speed data access, which is also called as HSPA. Okay, and it also gives you some kind of add-ons. Okay, add-ons are nothing but it will give you the more facility as compared to the other generation of mobile services. Okay, and all the services will be based on the packet switching services. Now, other than providing the packet switching services, this radio interface architecture also has some kind of high speed of downloading applications. Okay, because the data services are very high speed, therefore it also gives us the high speed packet data access and also the high speed uplink packet access. Okay, so both uplink and the downloading facilities are far better as compared to your 2G and 3G technology. Now, other than this uplink and downlink facility, this radio interface architecture is also responsible for air interface. Okay, air interface in the sense is completely a wireless. Okay, and which makes use of some kind of advanced techniques. Okay, and those techniques includes your OFDM technique. Your whole LTE depends on this OFDM. Okay, because it's a type of a modulation where we make use of in LTE design. Okay, and other than this they also make use of multiple antenna transmission and reception. So both this OFDM and the MIMO system will also plays an important role. Rather than that, they are the advanced techniques which are used in the 4G LTE compared to the other generations of mobile communication. Okay, now other than that, this LTE system or the radio access architecture, they do have some multiple access. Okay, and those multiple access are nothing but it is completely moved away from your CDMA. Okay, and instead uses makes use of some OFDM. Okay, in the downloading, in downlink, and the single carrier frequency division multiple access in the uplink. Okay, so what we have seen in the our previous video lecture, the three approaches which are related to vegetated the cell interface or inter-cell interferences, where the three approaches are related to the downlink, and some approaches are related to uplink. Okay, like the ICI cancellation, like ICI randomization. Okay, like your ICI avoidance. Okay, other again in ICI avoidance we have seen how that is being divided into semi-static and the static. Okay, so in this way this radio interface architecture is also responsible for providing the multiple access, but here we will not be making use of your TDM, FDM and CDM. The focus will be only on the OFDM. Okay, and that particular OFDM is only used in downloading or downlink facility, and the single carrier frequency division multiplexing, we call it as FDMA, it is used in uplink. Okay, and all these techniques are will make this complete LCE system to work in a better manner. Okay, now other than this, the radio interface architecture, the LTE here also focuses on the design principles. Okay, if you want to design the radio interface architecture, you should know the design principle. Okay, so other than design principle, you may have some kind of hierarchical structure, okay, or hierarchical channel structure, because we have a transmitter, we have a receiver, okay, and we have a channel. So if you only focus on the transmitter and the receiver, then what about the channel part? Okay, what should be the channel structure? So therefore, here in this particular module, the focus will be on the complete channel structure. What are the design principles? Okay, what is its network architecture, and the radio interface protocols are used. Okay, so based on the design structure and principle, this LTE system has some design principle. The various design principles which are shown here are, again, they are the some previous versions of your 3GPP, that is third generation partnership protocol. Okay, and the specification they include here is network architecture. Okay, and then we have data rate and latency. Okay, we have performance requirement. In that particular, we speak of spectrum efficiency. Then we have mobility, we have coverage, we have MBMS. Okay, that is called as the multimedia broadcast and multimedia service, LTE, radio resource management. Then deploying the scenario, flexibility of spectrum, interoperability with 3G and 2G networks. Okay, and with that, we do have some architectures. Okay, so some design principles which they have shown here are, one is network architecture. So what is network architecture here is, the LTE is again like your, unlike your 3G network, will not go with the 3G, that we only focus on the 4G and old. So this LTE is been designed to support, one is the network should be always your packet switching network. Okay, so such that it should support the various quality of services. Okay, like other previous generations which they make use of some high speed of packet access. Okay, and also support some packet switch traffic. Okay, but this was being achieved by adding some add-ons in the sense, your focus will be on the core, but to achieve the core they give some add-ons. Okay, and that add-ons will help you to achieve the required quality of service. Okay, so therefore the network architecture here makes use of packet switching data or network along with some kind of add-ons. Okay, over the air interface, and other than that, here there will be no any kind of circuit switching network. Okay, but if you use some kind of circuit switching network, there will be unnecessary burden on the network. Okay, in the sense, what the design what we have used for the LTE radio access network, that design will have some kind of minimum interferences. Okay, or minimum interferences. Okay, so just to overcome the problems of such network issues, okay, it should be kept as minimum as possible. Other than that, it should be made in such a way that all services should be follow the packet switching architecture. Okay, and if you do the this kind of packet switching architecture transport for the traffic, then the quality of services can be increased, or it can be a better as compared to the conventional streaming. Okay, then we have real time, or it can be a non-real time, or it can be your background classes. Okay, so this is the design principle. So what the complete design, what the in design principle, the network architecture will focus on, they only focus on the packet switching traffic. It should be used, not other services should be used. Okay, now the data latency here speaks about the bit rates, or it can be in the baud rate. Okay, and the data rate will be with related to your uplink frequency and the downlink frequency. Okay, so here the LTE will have some target for the downloading and uplink. Always the downloading and uploading cannot be same. Okay, so therefore in LTE they are making use of 100 Mbps for the downloading and or downlink, and 50 Mbps for uplink. And always remember, the speed of downloading is more than uploading. Okay, then while if they are operating at this particular speed, they should have a frequency of 20 megahertz. Okay, at 2 FDD, it is called as frequency division duplex channel size. Okay, and the user plane latency is defined in terms of the time it takes to transmit a small packet, IP packet, from the user equipment to a edge node of the radio access network, and it can be a vice versa. Okay, so just remember what is this data rate and latency. The data rate for the uplink is 100, and for downloading is 100 Mbps, and for uplink it is 50 Mbps, and it makes use of 20 megahertz of FDDF channel, and just to transfer the small amount of IP packet from user entity to the radio access network, or from the vice versa, this particular data rate or latency can be used. Okay, and basically the latency here will be of 5 milliseconds. Okay, so 5 millisecond is the time which is used, or which is required by the user plane to be unloaded into the network. Okay, and if you have some kind of a single user entity present in the cell, then obviously it will be again a minimum. It will be a minimum. More the number of users in the cell, more the time taken by the particular cell area. Okay, now the next part here is the performance requirement. Okay, how you are going to improve the performance of your LTE. Okay, so again there will be some kind of target which has been specified here. So the target performance requirement for LTE are, again, they are specified in terms of spectrum efficiency. Okay, performance is again based on mobility. If my mobile is moving from one cell to another cell, do my performance will vary. Okay, how can I compensate? By putting some kind of requirement. Okay, so this can be completely improved in LTE as compared to 3GPP or the release of 6. 6 is the sixth release, okay, of HSPA, that is high speed packet access. Okay, so what is spectrum efficiency here is, it can be defined as, if you take the average downloading user data rate, okay, and the spectrum efficiency target is 3 to 4 times that of the baseline, then the spectrum efficiency will be your the data rate and the average of your uplink. Okay, and that too, if you take with respect to the cell edge. Now I'm not talking about the cell core, we only speaking about the cell edges, because at the edges you may find a lot of interferences. Okay, and if you want to increase the performance, good performance, and if you want to reduce the some kind of cell interferences, then always your throughput should be better. Okay, and that can be measured as the 5th percentile throughput, or you can say 5% of the throughput. And there, how much there should be? There should be 2 to 3 times that of the baseline. So baseline is nothing but some a threshold. There will be some kind of a threshold, and that particular number, whatever you calculate, it should be at least 2 to 3 times of your baseline. It means it should cross the baseline. Then the next design principle is the mobility. Okay, we know what is mean by the mobility. So for what is the basic requirement of the mobility in LTE is nothing but it should support the handoff. Okay, or simply can call as handover. If the mobile user is moving from one cell to another cell, there should be a handover from one cell to another cell, such that the speed should not be minimized. Okay, and how the performance can be expected? It is expected as in case of 0 to 15 kilometers per hour. Okay, with small kind of a degradation, such that the high mobile speed is up to 120 kilometers per hour. Okay, but in case of LTE, it is expected to be sustained as a connection terminal speed up to 350 kilometers per hour. Okay, so this is about the mobility. And what about the coverage area? Okay, so if you have a cell, okay, which is of having a better performance, where the target should meet up to 5 kilometers. For example, if there is one tower, and that tower, if you are not able to connect to that particular tower after some amount of distance, for example, some 1 kilometer, some 2 kilometer, then you will not be having any kind of a network. Okay, so therefore you should design a network architecture. You should design an antenna or multiple antennas in such a way that it should cover at least 5 kilometers, such that the performance will not get degraded even if you are within the 5 kilometers of range away from the your antenna or the mobile tower. Okay, so if you go beyond the 5 kilometers, the performance may get degrade. Okay, and what is the range for this? The for cell range, it is up to 30 kilometers. Okay, so within the 30 kilometer of that particular area, okay, so you may come across the performance, and even you can go with the calculation of the performance. Okay, and sometimes the cell ranges up to 100 kilometers and should not be pre-calculated by the specification. Even if the cell area is too large, we cannot change the design. Okay, so that is what they say about the coverage. And the last but not the least here is nothing but the MBMS services. Okay, and this LTE also provides the enhanced support, okay, for multimedia broadcast. You know what do you mean by multimedia? So basically we have 4 different media types. We have text, audio, video, and image. Okay, so broadcasting in the sense sending it from one station to another station. Okay, and the multicast is nothing but we can simply cast your services. Okay, and if you compare with the UTTR operation, it is far better than compared to the other topics, other services. Okay, now similarly we do have the radio resource management. Okay, we have seen in the module number 5. So what is radio resource management? Which is basically used to improve the quality of service, which is used to increase the end-to-end connection. Okay, which is also responsible for the high layer transmission. Okay, we have spent much in detail about what is PDCP, what are the various layers. Okay, what are the various data formats. Okay, where it can be balanced. Okay, what are the various policies, what is S1 interface, what is X2 interface. Okay, so they all come into this particular radio resource management. Okay, now other than that, we do have some deployment scenarios and coexisting with 3G. Okay, so coexisting with the 3G is nothing but if the networks are at the different generations. Okay, or some are at the high levels. Okay, so during that particular scenario, okay, there are some following deployment scenarios are there. So those scenarios are the standalone deployment scenario, where the operator deploy LTE either with no previous network, okay, or with no requirement for internetworking with the existing. Okay, and the other is integrating with existing UTRAN and deploying scenario where the operator is ready to have either a UTRAN or it can be a GERAN network deployed with full, or it can be partial coverage in the geographical area. So I may go with the partial coveraging of the deployment of the devices or a network structure, or it can be fully, or it can be almost same geographical area. Okay, and here the one the, here two we have two more here. They are the flexibility of spectrum and deployment, where we usually go with the global standards. Okay, global standard where the LTE is designed to operate under a wide variety of spectrum scenarios, include the ability to coexist. We can share the spectrum with the coexisting 3G. Okay, then 3G technology, the existing with the sharing of spectrum is just like, for example, if you are having a 4G 4G SIM card, and if you are using your 4G SIM card into a 3G mobile phone. Okay, but still you will be having some kind of 3G network there. Okay, why it is? Because they are sharing the almost coexisting spectrum. Okay, and again the service which has been provided are your geographical areas which have a huge spectrum. Okay, in terms of the carrier frequency and the available total bandwidth, and basically the scalable bandwidth for this LTE is 1.4 megahertz to 20 megahertz. Okay, and the last is interoperability with 3G and 2G network. There should be some interoperability with the 3G and 2G network is in the sense there should be some kind of mutual understanding, you can say, or some kind of the acceptability between the two networks is still possible. Okay, and other than that, the multi-mode LTE terminals which have a support of these two operations should be able to support the measurement of and the handover from to and fro. That is nothing but both 3GPP and 3GPP, these two generation systems. Okay, which they should be acceptable. Terminal complexity, okay, they should have the acceptance with respect to the network performance. So in this way we go for uh, designing the LTE structure of radio network interface. Okay, so if the question comes, explain the various design principles related to the radio network interface or LTE, nothing but you should answer the whole complete answer for this particular question. Okay, so with this I conclude the first topic of this module. Okay, so in the next module we will try to see the network architecture, how it is different from the radio access architecture. Okay.